Good morning, YouTubers. I'm Pastor Lee, and today is December the 16th. This is a Sunday morning, and here in Southwest Florida, it's a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. And hopefully, wherever you are, hopefully it's a beautiful day there also. This week, I have the global end time headline news, and if my voice sounds a little crackling, got a little throat problem that I'm trying to fix, but bear with me if you will. Needless to say, this week we're all witnessing the terrible tragedy in Connecticut. Such an evil thing was done with the killing of the students up there. But we just have to keep our eyes on what the things that Jesus is telling us to be looking for to show us the season that we're in. And he points to as the days of Noah were. Well, there were several things going on in the days of Noah, but one of them was the increase in violence. Well, needless to say, we are seeing much increase in violence. I do have a list of things I'd want to share with you that I was able to come up with this week. I want to say that Isaiah 17:1 is knocking at the door. We are very, very close to witnessing this Bible prophecy being fulfilled. And this headline represents that. U.S. aircraft carrier, the U.S.S. Dwight D. Eisenhower, is leading the naval assault group which has arrived in the eastern Mediterranean. It is close proximity to the coast of Syria. On board ship are 70 fighter bombers and a total of 8,000 servicemen. Now, if you're not familiar with Isaiah 17:1, it speaks of Damascus, Syria, existing no more, that it will be left in a heap of ruins, and that this would happen overnight. So it's the oldest habited city in the world, and it's going to cease from being a city in overnight. Just a matter of hours. So to me, that sounds like it could only be speaking of nuclear war. And boy, are we ever seeing signs of this getting closer. The second headline I have, I'll say the Vatican is loudly calling for world government and a new world order. That's right. These words are coming directly from the Vatican. Now, I want to share with you, I personally believe that the up-and-coming, soon-to-see false prophet, when I say soon-to-see, of course, I'm not talking about the believers. Believers will have been raptured at this point in time, but I believe that this false prophet will come from the Vatican, and most likely could be the next pope. You know, the pope that is in the Vatican right now is on his last days, and it's been predicted that the very next one would be the last pope. And I think it's very interesting to see how things are starting to come together to fill all these prophecies of the Bible. And that's what's so neat about being in this generation, is that so many generations and generations ago, thousands of years ago, what we're witnessing in our life was being spoken of then. So I think it's a very exciting time to be living. I mean, it's very scary at times, yes. Perilous times, yes, it is. But if you are a born again, Bible believing Christian and know that you are and have been saved and that you are in line for the rapture to be lifted off of this this God-forsaken earth, then there's really nothing to worry about. There's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, you've got so much to look forward to. But as far as the unbeliever, then you've got a lot to worry about. That's all I can really say. The U.S., didn't know whether you heard this, but the U.S. quietly released 8,500 criminals who were supposed to be deported. Now, just wonder if these criminals who've been released, are they going to receive jobs? Are they going to receive job placement? Who the heck knows at this point? Who knows? The government is expected to propose mandatory black boxes in all new light trucks and cars. We are living in George Orwell's world of 1984. If you have not read that book yet, I highly recommend that because it describes exactly what we're seeing coming into this world as I speak. And 73% of new jobs created in just the last 5 months are in the government. That's just what we don't need. One thing we do not need is a bigger government. But Obama being in charge, that is what is so important to him, is have the government grow. The next one, our entire economy, okay? Our entire economy is a giant mirage. Our prosperity has been purchased by stealing from the future and not the blessings from God. A few people have been warning that we have completely destroyed our future in the process. But both so-called political parties just continue to do it, and the mainstream media just continues to cheer them on. At some point, this con game will come to an end. And this economic mirage or facade will disappear. And when that happens, millions of people, you can count on this people, millions of people all over this country are going to become extremely angry and very desperate, to say the least. And this, I firmly believe, is when the U.S. citizens are going to see why Homeland Security has purchased this year 1.4 billion rounds of hollow-tip bullets. It's to be used against us, people. People have to be pushed up against the wall. Pushed up against it to where they have no place to go but lash straight out. And they know that when they push the American citizen to a certain point, this is how they're going to react. And they have prepared in advance for it. I just pray that you have a right relationship with God. It has nothing to do with religion. Religion is all man-made. It's not about that. It's about relationship. What is your relationship with God? Because if you're not right with God, means you aren't ready. And if you aren't ready, then you are not ready for the rapture. So get right with God, please. Obama has hired an average of 101 new federal employees per day since taking office. Average of 101. I just said a minute ago. He is into big government. That's the problem. That's the main problem we have, is the government becoming bigger and bigger, and it's expanding. It's reaching out like an octopus. It's reaching out with all these arms, and it's putting an arm on each and everything, controlling you, everything about your life. And eventually this government is going to grow so big and dominate so much that it will eventually be the one world government. It will be the European Union, or the revived Roman government. Okay. Moving on. 526,421 family farms are now being threatened by the new death tax. If no action's taken by our dear politicians, if they take no action whatsoever, my pages here, that means that the federal government would begin taking more than half the value of family farm estates, exceeding $1 million beginning in the year 2013. Isn't that amazing? That is amazing. Our farms are disappearing. What is that going to do to the families who own these farms? What about our food supply? Don't you think that's important? You think the American people depend on these family farms to produce good, wholesome food? They're doing away with it. And that goes right along with what the Bible tells us in these last days in Matthew chapter 24. It speaks of famine. If you do away with food, you do away with crops, you do away with farms, then that's what we're looking at. Famine. Widespread famine. And to continue on this, up to 24% of America's farm and ranch families could be forced to hand over a large chunk of their heritage. Who are they going to hand it over to? None other than the IRS. And this happens when a family member dies. So basically what I'm saying, if a family has a large ranch or farm, that's been handed down from generation to generation, and now a family member dies, the family farm dies along with it. Terrible. Now I'm going to kind of switch gears. The industry of psychiatry has officially gone totally insane. Its new manual, the DSM-5, labels practically every human emotion as a mental disorder. Did you get that? As a mental disorder. All those so-called disorders, of course, require treatment with high-profit pharmaceuticals that earn kickbacks for the psychiatrist who've made up all the fabricated disorders in the first place. Needless to say, mega amounts of money goes to big pharma. And last month in Iceland, a total of 1,500 earthquakes hit in 1 month. Now, we know that Matthew chapter 24 speaks of many different signs that we're to be looking for to show us that his return is coming soon. And one of those is increase in earthquakes. The increase in the number of earthquakes and also with intensity. And I just have these few closing words this week. I want to end this message with these few words. So please pay attention to this. I want you to know that God's ways are not our ways. His preparation of his warriors seems cruel and hurtful at times. His ways are much higher than ours. Trust the God of the universe, that he can orchestrate the events of your life when they seem the darkest. I just wanted to end this week's headlines with a simple message. Play this over a couple of times. You don't have to listen to this whole headline if you don't want to, but these last parting words, listen to those a few times and plant the meaning into your heart. I ask you to do that. Well, this is Pastor Lee. I'm wrapping up this week's broadcast. God willing, join me next week. And as I always like to say, may God bless you all. Bye-bye.